Reflex action. There are certain body responses which are immediate, they do not require any thinking by the brain. These responses are called as reflex action and the pathway is called as reflex arc. Thus, reflex action is a spontaneous, involuntary, and automatic response without the will of the organism, and it is under the control of reflex centers present in spinal cord and medulla of the brain. Examples of reflex action are withdrawal of hand on touching a hot object, blinking of eyes, sneezing, coughing, or vomiting, withdrawal of leg when stepped on pointed object while walking barefoot, watering of mouth at the sight of tasty food. Here we have reflex arc. Reflex arc is the anatomical pathway followed by an afferent or sensory nerve in carrying the sensation from the receptor organ to the reflex centers of spinal cord or medulla of brain, and then the pathway followed by motor nerve in carrying the order from reflex center to effector organs during the reflex action. This over here is the image of reflex arc, which involves receptors, sensory neuron, spinal cord which has relay neurons, then motor neuron, and at last the effector. Now let's take a look at components of reflex arc. First, receptor or sensory organ, it receives the stimulus and initiates a sensory impulse. Second, sensory or afferent nerve, it carries the impulse from receptor organ to the reflex center. Third, reflex center, spinal cord or medulla, it changes sensory impulse into a motor impulse. Fourth, motor or efferent nerve, it conducts the nerve impulse from reflex center, spinal cord or medulla to the effector organ. Last is effector organ, it gives the response producing movement of some muscles and secretion from gland. Here we have pathway of nerve impulse in a reflex arc. It starts with stimulus, receptor organ, then sensory nerve, reflex center which consists of spinal cord or medulla, then motor nerve, effector organ, and at last response to stimulus. Here we have components of reflex arc which starts with receptors, then sensory nerves, after that interneural neuron, then motor nerve, and at the end response by effector.